I wanted to get on today and talk about a topic that people keep bringing up with me. So, as I'm talking, feel free to ask me any questions because I've had a lot of people just come and be talking to me about this lately. If you don't know me, I'm Meredith Hawley. I am a lawyer and power dynamics facilitator. I help employees stop toxic work environments without quitting their jobs. So as I was saying, feel free to ask me any questions. This is a topic that's been on my mind and my heart and something that people keep asking me about. So if you have questions about it, you're totally normal. Feel free to send me a private message if you're not comfortable commenting in the group. So what I want to talk about today is how to work with chronic anxiety. And there's sort of two parts to that. One is how do you manage chronic anxiety and how do you go to work and show up every day if you have chronic anxiety. So this is a personal topic to me. I remember when I had chronic anxiety, I would walk to work every day. And I was so afraid to go to work that I would be listening to podcasts and my heart would be pounding louder than the sound of the podcast. And I would get to work and I just remember sitting at my desk and in such a spiral of like fear and of self-criticism and worrying about what I was doing wrong and trying to figure out what I would do wrong ahead of time, so that I wouldn't hurt anybody. And I would think if I did something wrong, somebody's going to get hurt. And I was just afraid all the time about this. And someone was saying to me the other day, well, everyone has chronic anxiety. And I hadn't even thought about it in years, but I thought I don't have chronic anxiety now. I do not have that. I don't think it's just something that we have to live with if you have experienced chronic anxiety. I think that there are tools to feel better. I think if you have chronic anxiety, so many people do, and that is a human thing and there's nothing wrong with you. And there are just things that we can do to solve it and to work with it in a positive way. A lot of people, when they've been coming to me and talking to me about their anxiety, they'll say things like, oh, I'm using essential oils and I'm listening to calming music. And I love those things. I think those things are great. I'm not against them at all. But the thing I would ask you is, would you use essential oils to fix a broken leg or to handle a broken leg? Most people would also maybe use essential oils, but you would also use tangible tools. You would go to the doctor. You would go to the emergency room. You would have an expert help you with a broken leg. And so sometimes, like, maybe people are experiencing anxiety at a level that feels like a paper cut. And so they want to put a Band-Aid on it and they want to put some essential oils on it. And that is fine. If you're experiencing anxiety that feels like a paper cut, then that may be a useful way to manage it. But if you're experiencing anxiety like I was, that actually interferes with your work, that interferes with your health, and that takes a lot of your energy, it's okay to treat it like a broken leg, right? Like, don't pretend that something is a paper cut if it is a broken leg. Be honest with yourself about how much anxiety might be interfering with your life, and don't pretend that it's a lighter issue than it is if it is serious. So in this video, I want to tell you the one thing that really made the biggest difference to me. It's a tool that I call processing. And this is a tool that I work with my clients on, and that I've just seen a lot of success with in myself and with other people. And so processing asks you to do three things. The first thing that you do when you're processing is you get curious about the feeling of anxiety. So you ask yourself, not just intellectually, but in your body, what does anxiety feel like. Just be super curious about it. It's not dangerous to just ask questions about the anxiety and just say, where do I feel it in my body? All feelings are something that we feel in our bodies, right? We get outside information from our outside environment. We process it through our brains. Then our brains release chemicals, and those go into our bodies, and we experience those as feelings. So the first step is just be curious about what it feels like. Then the second step is actually describe to yourself the physical feeling of anxiety as separate from other feelings that you might be feeling, right? So you might also be feeling guilt, joy, excitement, shame, disappointment, motivation. You could be feeling 10 different feelings sort of, and they all seem kind of mushed together. And so you want to separate out, what does anxiety actually feel like physically, and describe it. Pretend that you're talking to someone, to a robot who has never felt an emotion, and you need to explain, what does anxiety feel like as its own experience. And then the third step is you label at least one other feeling that you might be feeling. And so, and you want to label it by giving it a one-word description. So fear, shame, guilt, joy, happiness, relaxation, all. You can like Google feeling words and see what one other feeling you're feeling is and how you would describe that. And then you go back through the process with that feeling. You get curious about that feeling. You describe it to yourself as its own thing, as though you're describing it to a robot that has never felt feelings, right? And so, so then you just keep doing this as you're describing feelings, and lean into whatever it is and be willing to experience the feeling in your body. What most of us notice through this process is that anxiety is often resistance to feeling other feelings. So we have a feeling, for example, fear, and we don't want to feel fear because we want to take action. We want to get our work done. We don't want to spend a bunch of time feeling feelings. And most of us are taught feeling feelings is lame anyway, and you're a whiner if you feel them, which is not true, right? We all have feelings because we're humans. Unfortunately or fortunately, humans have feelings. And so, so if you can be willing to allow the experience of a feeling, often anxiety disappears, because the anxiety is us tensing up and resisting a feeling. So the thing to keep in mind about this is feelings are chemicals that are released from our brain into our body. They're hormones, right? They're chemicals that are released that create sensations in our body. That is okay. It just means you're human if you're having feelings. And the actual release of the chemical, I understand the research shows it takes 15 seconds for that initial release, and then 90 seconds for it to process through. So sometimes it happens multiple waves of processing through, but you are strong enough for sure to feel a feeling. If you've been feeling chronic anxiety, for example, you are definitely strong enough to feel hard feelings. And so doing this process, get curious about the feeling. Literally describe it to yourself. Is it hot or cold? Is it fast or slow? Is it tight or loose? What color is it? As though you're describing it to a robot, and then labeling it can make huge improvements for people. I had a client that I was talking to a couple weekends ago, and she said that after our work together of processing these feelings, now she's sort of like, what do I do with all the energy that I was using in producing anxiety? She was like, I guess I'll write a book. And so now she's like writing a book. And I had a client just yesterday who, when we were working together, was having a panic attack every day before she came to me. And now I'll ask her, how many panic attacks did you have last week? And she's kind of like, well, I don't know if you could call it a panic attack. And so it's just been amazing to see people able to let this go and move on to something that they're excited about. What are you going to use that energy for? What would be possible for you if that anxiety wasn't there, if your energy wasn't going to anxiety? So this is what I teach in Power Dynamics Basics to employees who come to me who want to keep their jobs. If you know somebody who is in a toxic work environment, who feels chronic anxiety every day, who feels afraid to go to work, I hope you will send me a message and we can talk about how to connect them with support and get them help. We're revamping things right now. So if in the past you felt like maybe it would be too big of an investment, one, I would ask you, is it too big of an investment to heal a broken leg? Like, be serious about how big this problem is. Is it too big of an investment to go to the doctor if you have a broken leg? No, like, it's important. And then also we are working with people now on income-based payments for Power Dynamics Basics. So that's exciting, and we're excited about that. And we've seen a lot of amazing people come in. So send me a message. If you have questions, ask me in the comments or ask me in a message. And thanks, you guys. I'm so glad to see you.